Up for grabs as we welcome you to the CNE and inside BMO Field. Marshall Ferguson alongside Dwayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti at field level throughout the evening. McLeod Bethel Thompson, the heat is on here going into week number 12. Dwayne.
Yeah, it certainly seems that the Argo faithful are feeling a little less faithful towards their starting quarterback, and we expect that we may see a little bit of Chad Kelly as this game progresses. McLeod Bethel Thompson, obviously the veteran starter, so he looks to have a big game tonight and really secure his claim on that job for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Dane Evans, as you heard, returns from injury, but the standard has become in Hamilton that we'll see both of these quarterbacks play tonight. It's just a matter of how much we'll see of each and when we'll see them together.
It's a great question. There's been 6 snaps so far this year where they've had both quarterbacks on the field. The Ticats taking advantage of that new rule that you can have them both on the field at the same time. And Orlando Steinauer said during his press conference after practice this past couple of days ago, you know, you can only play one of them at one time. Wait a minute. No, actually, I can have them both on the field, and I think I will at some point. The Tiger Cats won the toss. They deferred. Toronto takes the football to kick things off here in week number 12. As cutting it back against the grain, it's Devon Leak right away out to the 41-yard line. And McLeod Bethel Thompson, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions against Hamilton so far this season. It's been a pretty clean sheet against them, but just looking for that extra little pop in the offense.
Yeah, certainly. Just looking for consistency, which has sort of been the story of McLeod Bethel Thompson's career in double blue, a guy who has certainly had moments of brilliance. The fans and obviously the Toronto Argonaut coaching staff want to see that all the time.
Begins against a 4-man rush, and they get a quick throw out. This goes to DeMonte Cox. He gets his first touch as we get a look at the Argonauts' starting offense, brought to you by Expedia.
Yeah, taking a look at that offensive line. Dejon Allen back at his familiar right tackle spot, helping secure that offensive line. As you mentioned, DeMonte Coxey, newcomer to the Toronto Argonauts this year, big target. Gets an opportunity with Cam Phillips out of the line.
It is a gain of 4 on first down. 2nd and 6, shot over the top. Incomplete. Tunde Adeleke over from free safety. Very close to that one with Richard Leonard nearby as well, and a 2 and out for the Argonauts as they're a league best. Only have 35 of those coming in, but a quick turnaround here.
Yeah, a little battle on the deep ball here for Ottawa bragging rights. A couple of kids from the nation's capital. Curly Gittins Jr. heading down the seam. Tunde Adeleke coming to make sure he doesn't take that one to the house.
Haggerty back to kick this one away. Sidewinder will drop down in the middle of the field. Poppy White back from injury. Tries to pick it up on the fly, and it falls to the turf. Great coverage that time from the Argonauts punt coverage unit, something they've struggled with. And Dane Evans does get the start. He takes the field after missing a couple of weeks due to injury.
Yeah, and we'll see how Dane Evans is able to get things going here. You heard Matt Dunnigan talk a little bit about looking to see Dane pick things up, particularly given the relatively strong performance of Matthew Schultz over the last couple of weeks.
Completing 67.4% of his passes on the year. Hurt his shoulder on this same field back in week 9. They begin with a run, cutting it back inside. It's Don Jackson leveraging 2 defenders before he gets wrapped up and brought down. Get a look at the Ticats starting D.
And offensively for these Hamilton Tiger Cats, you're going to see Coulter Woodmansey shift from his usual right guard position to center. Alex Fontana is out. Fortunately, Kyle Saxelid comes back into the lineup to help at right guard. Poppy White also drawn back in to bolster that receiving core that's been dealing with some injuries through much of the season.
And in comes Jalen Morton, the 3rd string quarterback tonight with Jamie Newman out. He'll plunge forward and he gets the first down and much more as the Argonauts starting defense here up against the sticks.
And taking a look at this group, Robbie Smith out of Wilfrid Laurier University makes the start at defensive end with Jagarrett Davis out of the lineup. Keep an eye on Winton McManus from his weak side linebacker position. He has been Argo's top defender throughout the season. Maurice Carnell, one-time Hamilton Tiger Cat, looks to victimize his former team again here tonight.
Had an interception last week against the Calgary Stampeders in a game that the Argonauts were not able to win despite having success in the turnover game. Evans back onto the field. Felix Gauthier, the fullback, is in, sling it out. This one goes to Lamar Durant as he catches it, and quickly the Argos secondary rallies there. It's just the 4th catch of the season for Durant.
Yeah, it's been kind of a slow start for Lamar Durant in his return to this Hamilton Tiger Cats lineup. He opened the season on the 6-game injured list, has been back in for the last few weeks and is kind of still finding his way in his new colors.
Poppy White, as we said on the punt return, factors back into the lineup. The opposite slot back spot, hasn't played since Canada Day against Edmonton, nearly 2 months off the field. Dane Evans said he was excited to have him back in. We'll see if he finds Poppy White on 2nd and 7. Pressure on, Evans gets it away. Out to the flats, it's caught, and it is on cue. Poppy White making the grab and picking up the first down for a Ticats conversion.
There's a little delay on the release from Poppy White. I'm not sure if that threw off the coverage a little bit. It'll be coming right towards you as he released to the right side of Dane Evans, out to the flat. Argos give him a little bit of a cushion. Poppy makes him pay with a first down out near midfield.
These two teams played last with Dane Evans as the quarterback. He was 25 of 28 on pass attempts under 10 yards. Extremely efficient. Staring down a 4-man rush, lifts it over the top, and it beats Enoch Mwamba, another defender, and finally Wynton McManus will bring him down. But again, Poppy White coming back from that ankle and knee injury and just feathered over the top of the middle linebacker for the Argonauts.
Yeah, Hamilton lines up with quads to the field. You're just going to see Poppy White working down the middle here. So they basically sit it down on the outside there with Lamar Durant. 3 verticals. Poppy White, the man left open.
32-yard gain on the play. His catches 17 and 18 on the season for White. As he'll line up to the right of Evans. Extra offensive lineman Jesse Gibbon is in. They'll run the football with Don Jackson on first down, lunging forward and trying to improve their yards per rush, as Tim White has been certainly an explosive player this year for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Haven't had a chance to use him tonight, but whoa, last week against Montreal, they used him about as much as they possibly could. Yeah, exactly. Tim White continuing to grow here in his 2nd year in the Canadian Football League. Very much establishing himself as the go-to guy. You know, had a bigger role than expected last year as there were injuries to what they thought would be a veteran receiving corps when the year opened. Brandon Banks was a little nicked for much of the year. Braylon Addison, Devere Posey battling injuries throughout. Evans over the top, looking Keandre Smith's way, and throws that one out of bounds in confusion, it looked like, on the snap. But Tim White, only Hamilton receiver with 2 100-plus yard games so far this year, and it was 145 yards in Montreal last Saturday. Yeah, he was impressive in Montreal last week. No question about that. But a successful drive for the Ticats, no doubt, to drive the field a little bit here. And it'll be interesting to see with Poppy White checking back into the lineup alongside Tim, no relation. See if they're able to create a little bit more open space there with an added speedy threat in that receiving corps. Matthew Schultz gets the hold down and chop this one through the wind. It's Seth Small with his 15th field goal of the season. And the Tiger Cats take the early 3-0 lead here in episode 3 of Argos Ticats in 2022. McLeod Bethel Thompson on the field right after this. Much discussion around McLeod Bethel Thompson and how the Argonauts are going to create some passing yardage, but he's chasing down a guy you might know when it comes to Argonauts all-time passing history. That's Doug Flutie, just ahead of Macbeth going into tonight. Yeah, well, it seems like so often the Toronto Argonauts have considered other quarterbacks other than McLeod Bethel Thompson, that he something of a football survivor, a guy who's been around many teams in many leagues and has had staying power certainly here with the Toronto Argonauts and looks to make that continue. Take a look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense. They juggle the ratio a little bit. One less Canadian receiver in the starting lineup tonight. Means Mason Bennett is in at defensive end. The Canadian Javon Santos Knox, arguably their best defensive player so far this season. And newcomer Rodney Randall, the former Montreal Alouette,
is in at the field corner spot for Deontay Evans.
Wild Bubble Thompson goes into the boundary this time. It is DeMonte Coxey this time stepping out of bounds right near that first down marker. And such an interesting situation with the Argonauts offense here, Dwayne, where they are not productive on first down, but they're very successful on second down. So they avoid 2-and-outs by making plays like this.
Yeah, the positive side of a negative, I suppose, making lemonade out of their first down lemons. Another example here with the newcomer Coxey.
Crossface this time goes Marky Bambles, trying to screen it back to Speedy B, and the flag comes out as it looks like, I think that's Jamal Roll working in the boundaries, said, I don't think I'm going to allow Speedy to catch this quick one on me, as Mason Bennett's making the argument there was a tip at the line of scrimmage.
Mason Bennett coming from the top of your screen. Winnipeg native, University of North Dakota product. Gets a piece of that one to bat it down.
And understandable why Speedy was making the argument, because I don't think he realized that the big mitt/elbow of Mason Bennett had come out there, but Jamal Roll definitely all over it as the timing was thrown off.
There is no flag on the play for pass interference because the forward pass was tipped. The result of the play is an incomplete pass. It's second down.
Well, that one's not going to help Brandon Banks' completion rate. They're only completing 43% of their passes to Speedy here in Double Blue so far this year, as he does not, as of yet, have a whole lot of success against his former team in these two matchups leading into tonight.
Yeah, certainly one of the discussion topics surrounding the struggles of the Toronto Argonaut passing game has been the lack of chemistry between MBT and Speedy B.
Over the top, McLeod goes looking. It's Randall Jr. hauls it in. Interception. And the Ticats defense, with an early lead, gets another pick as McLeod pushes the ball down the field and off the mark that time, looking for Coxey. Randall runs underneath it, and the Ticats in control early.
Well, Rodney Randall making his presence felt in his Hamilton Tiger Cat debut. He's lined up out here on the corner. Covering the wideout on this one is just going to be a vertical, and Randall is over top all the way. Bethel Thompson throwing this ball with the wind at his back. This ends up in a little bit of an overthrow that essentially all Randall has to do is maintain his position, keep the receiver boxed out, prevent him from overtaking him. And a relatively easy INT.
Dane Evans in quickly, throws a slant poppy White, the intended receiver, and runs into a wall named Enoch Mwamba, knocking it away. Incomplete, 2nd and 10. As Dane Evans, first couple of games played, last 4 before the injury. I think he was starting to get into a bit of a rhythm before he got hurt here in Toronto.
Yeah, the thing that really stands out in the comparison of that first 4 versus last 4 is in the touchdown to interception ratio. Turnovers were a huge issue for the Tiger Cats in that 0-4 start. 2-2 to be a 500 team isn't really meeting the expectations that this team has, but a huge improvement for sure.
Don Jackson catches this one out of the backfield, lunges forward. We'll see where the spot is, but certainly looks like it's good enough for a first down. The Tiger Cats coming into tonight -16, last in the league in turnover ratio by 10 turnovers because of those early season struggles.
Yeah, that's it. It was a massive hole dug at the start of the season. They look to game by game make their way out of that, as you see the catch and run from the running back Jackson.
All 6'2", 220 of Jamal Peters trying to stop Don Jackson from getting the first down yardage. He could not. And a nice conversion from the black and gold there. Jackson, the lone back, as Stephen Dunbar pinches down from his receiver spot. They'll hand it off the inside. Churning the legs for a gain on first. As we go into the flashback machine here and take a look at Dane Evans. The last time he was healthy and on the field for Hamilton.
Right here at BMO Field. The beginning of this 4-game series between these two teams. Again, 4 games in 5 weeks.
Heard it early in the game as well, and it obviously ended with the Chris Edwards pick-6, but the Ticats training staff was not happy that he had been hurt at the start of the game, ignored it the whole game, told them after the game, And then had to sit out for a couple of weeks. As Evans under pressure this time, dances away from Bobby Smith, checks it down, and it goes to Don Jackson on 2nd and 6. Looks like he has come up about half a yard shy maybe, and we might see Jalen Morton run off the sidelines here if Orlando Steinauer wants to be aggressive.
Yeah, the spot's going to be key here, certainly. Nice effort. First with the escapability from Dane Evans. And Don Jackson after the catch looking to get that first down.
And in comes Julian Hauser, defensive lineman. This will be his 18th offensive snap of the year. Playing the tight end. Nearest to you is Jalen Morton on 3rd and short from his own end of the field. Bobbles the snap. Rolls away from the tackle and looks like he got it on 2nd effort, but that was anything but clean, Dwayne.
Yeah, quick penetration there, but a nice reaction from Morton to spin to the inside and pick up the first down. You see the bobbled snap right there that may have played a role in their struggles on this particular play.
I'm not sure he lost it long enough to have a heart attack, but it was close.
Yeah, I'm sure the eyes got real big.
Especially with Whit McManus staring you down and right in the middle of the hole. Regardless, 1st and 10. They'll empty it out with Sean Thomas Erlington. Quick screen back to Dunbar. Looking for a block in open space, and a nice chunk play on 1st down that time with the quick screen to Dunbar. He gets involved in the action early and often in this Ticats offense.
As you see Tommy Condell, Dunbar, another part of sort of the renewed Hamilton Tiger Cat receiving core. Tim White, Poppy White, Stephen Dunbar, all 2nd-year men who brought in last season, created some competition in training camp, and because of injuries, all 3 quickly earned an opportunity to play. Dunbar and Tim White in particular really establishing themselves in their first year, and again with Poppy White having battled injuries a little bit, the others have progressed faster.
Play actions, Evans loads it up and then decides to stay away from Poppy White, who he was trying to find down the field, and so it will go for no gain, 2nd and 10. But yeah, Dunbar and Tim White have created this kind of interesting evolution of that receiving core that a couple of years ago you really couldn't have expected, I don't think.
Yeah, no, certainly not. Again, it was expected to be a veteran group last year, but the talk you heard coming out of training camp was how competitive the receiver position was.
2nd and long for the Tiger Cats here. Sean Thomas Erlington in the ball game for Don Jackson. They'll empty him out into the boundary. Evans pumps there, looks over the top, intercepted, forced it in, and it's Jamal Peters with the INT off of Evans. As McLeod Bethel-Thompson threw one, and the Argos defense makes up for it. Evans wanted it, tried to force it into the spot. Peters read it the whole way. Argos possession when we return.
Exception there for Jamal Peters, and the numbers right from the start on this one, if you take a look, you're looking at 3 Hamilton receivers that as the free safety, Mechie comes over, are essentially working against 5 defenders. You're going to end up with pretty tight windows, and I think in this instance, Evans is kind of trying to throw him away from the safety who's drifting over, and that leads him right into the corner, Jamal Peters.
Big gashing run on 1st down here from Javon Lee, because we get another look at the interception from Jamal Peters, and yeah, just trying to move somebody, but there's nowhere to move.
Yeah, there you see the 2 defenders between whom Evans is trying to thread the needle.
So he throws his 11th interception of the year, and the Argonauts begin in plus territory. Gain of 8 on 1st down, 2nd and 2, right into the teeth of that Ticats defense. But they will move the sticks once again on 2nd and short. Javon Santos-Knox adds to his tally on the year, comes in tied for the league lead with 60 defensive tackles.
Good hard run there from Javon Lee, but Santos-Knox, as you mentioned, has been so impressive for Hamilton this season.
Empty it out this time, 3-by-3, knocked down right at the line of scrimmage. Was it Dylan Wynn or Julian Hauser? They both had their arms up in the way. See who gets credit for it here, but the Ticats defensive line is very active early on.
Yep. Looked at a glance like it was Julian Hauser coming off the edge who got a piece of this one.
Do they give half knockdowns?
Yeah, number of cats fighting over that one.
Bethel Thompson over the middle. Flag comes up in the backfield. And Javon Santos-Knox believes it's going to be a holding call against the Argonauts to negate a really nice throw over the middle from McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Quick hitter here.
It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay second down.
Trying to get Gittins Jr. involved here. Keep an eye on the rookie left guard, Gregor McKellar, out of St. FX. Was the man who got caught here. I think caught off guard a little bit by the inside rush from Julian Hauser.
That moves it back and creates 2nd and 20. 4 receivers to the left. Bethel Thompson flips it out on the receiver swing screen, chopped down. And they just get back some yardage here, and they'll send out the punting unit. As well, Boris Beatty is out on the field as well, but as defensive coordinator Mark Washington celebrates the defense holding and keeps the defense on for a little field goal safe, as Haggerty will be the holder, and Beatty will put an attempt up from 48 yards away. 7 of 11 from this distance so far on the year. 83% overall. With the always dangerous Tunde Adeleke back to return should he miss. Beatty pushing it, and it will sail just inside of the uprights as Hamilton and Toronto are knotted up at 1. 3 apiece. Headed to the end of the first here at BMO. Dane back on the field trying to atone for his interception right after this. We head towards the end of the first, and intriguing quarterback storylines on both sidelines, with more as always down to the sidelines, Matthew Shinetti.
Made more intriguing by the fact that both of these quarterbacks have now thrown an interception, Marshall. So let's take a look at the Argo sideline first. Some indication this week from Ryan Dinwiddie that Chad Kelly might get into the game, and not just for design runs, but maybe a whole series to try to gain some confidence. I'm keeping an eye on the Argo sideline. That hasn't happened just yet. As for the Ticats and Dane Evans, he comes back in after, yes, dealing with that injury that he suffered here a few weeks ago, as you two were discussing. Speaking to offensive coordinator Tommy Condell, he said to me, it's going to be situational with putting in Dane Evans and Matthew Schultz and Jalen Morton, but he has confidence in both Schultz and Evans. But at this point, Condell isn't going to go ahead and show his hand for those situations, but said, listen, when it comes down to it, I know they both can make the throws. I got eyes on both sidelines, guys.
Thank you, Matthew. And it will be an intriguing one throughout the night to see how that evolves, especially after the early interceptions. And no snaps for Schultz thus far, as Evans in the gun will hand it off to Don Jackson. They cut down the backside, a little bit of running room that time, as Felix Grand-Gauthier and Colin Kelly on the right side of that line, able to create a little bit of movement. And Jackson picks up a gain of about 7 on first down. 2nd and 3 to kick off quarter number 2 in the 3rd matchup of 4 this season, with Labor Day looming between the Ticats and the Argos. Come on back. Tied up at 3 between these two clubs, and the passing game not really firing on all cylinders as of yet for the Toronto Argonauts. Saw Chad Kelly wandering around those sidelines. Looked like he might be arguing for a little bit of playing time here, perhaps negotiating on that sideline. But for now, it is McLeod Bethel Thompson in a back and forth, low-scoring first quarter.
Yeah, that it has been. And when you look from a Hamilton perspective, I'm going to go back to the coin toss at the start of this game. Hamilton wins into first. Toronto takes the win out of the gate. Hamilton using that run game a little bit, getting Don Jackson involved, and ultimately they end up controlling the clock a little bit through that first quarter, limiting Toronto's opportunities.
Well, if you weren't familiar already with Ticats and Argonauts football, in the 3rd matchup of 4 in the regular season, sometimes it doesn't matter who controls the game. It's the score at the end that matters as the flags come up on the snap here. And Don Jackson says, house call.
He's gone.
Procedure, Hamilton, number 50. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
And that'll go against the left tackle, Travis Vaughan call.
Don Jackson, after finishing his run, he's got a long way back to the huddle.
That's the old whistles go. That's what coaches teach you to score, right? At every practice. Go score.
Procedure,
Finish your
Hamilton.
run.
Well, we'll see if he pops one later. In discussion with Dane Evans in the offensive backfield as they break the huddle with 4 receivers to the right of Evans. Lone man to the backside is Stephen Dunbar against Jamal Peters. Evans climbs the pocket, lots of time. He'll check it down underneath. It goes to Jackson on second down, and he'll pick up the yardage required before getting popped out of bounds by Peters, who's been very active here, tackling in the first quarter a little bit.
Yeah, just a 3-man rush in this instance. Leaves only the check down as an option for Dane Evans, but with the Argos dropping deep, that proves to be just enough to get the first down.
34 tackles on the season for Peters at that boundary corner spot. Hasn't had an interception since week 4 against Winnipeg, but got one here tonight. Off of Dane Evans as early on. He's 7 of 10 for 86 yards, but does have the turnover. Extra offensive lineman in on 1st and 10. Back to the ground game. Jackson, and right there once again, setting the edge. Number 3 in the backfield for a tackle for loss.
Yeah, terrific run support there from the secondary. As you mentioned, Jamal Peters, a big corner, a guy who's clearly not avoiding contact out on corner island. Stepping right into the mix to make the play on this one.
Some discussion in the preseason and training camp. Well, Tavares McFadden's a really good, big, long corner. Maybe Jamal Peters is under some pressure. They said, no, you know what? We'll just put McFadden on the other side.
That's right.
We'll put big corners on both sides here for the Argos D. After the Peters tackle, 2nd and 11, pressure on. Wynton McManus is blitzing. Evans holds onto it, steps up, pressure on, and the ball is out. Was it ripped away by the Argonauts? It was. And Dane Evans loses another fumble. That's now 7 he's had on the year. 6 of them have been recovered by the opposition. Spun away from Shane Ray. Couldn't get away from Robbie Smith and Sam Acheampong. Argos football. There's defensive coordinator Corey Mace as he sees on the tablet his defense get yet another turnover. Is now 12 fumbles lost on the year, a league worst for the Hamilton Tiger-Cats and Dane Evans.
Yeah, and it's Sam Acheampong sort of retracing his steps as Dane Evans steps up there. Who comes up with the strip and recovery, much to the pleasure of his D coordinator, former CFL D lineman himself, Corey Mace.
For Acheampong, no sacks on the year, but now he does have. What is that? We were talking with Wynton McManus this week. Would you rather have an interception or a sack? He said, do I get the forced fumble and the fumble recovery? And do I get it all? Is that part of the negotiation? Because Acheampong was pretty close to having the trifecta there.
Yeah, I don't know if the big fellow was going to get up and run that time, but certainly happy to take the turnover and provide terrific field position for his offense.
2nd down and 10. For the Argos attack, trying to create some points off turnovers, just 52 this year. 4th in the CFL. They'd love to increase that number here after the fumble from Evans. Macbeth to the wide side, and that one's going to drop well short of Brandon Banks, and a 2 and out as McLeod stares it down and tries to figure out where that quick possession went wrong.
Sorry, what did you say about Bethel Thompson's completion percentage to Brandon Banks?
43% coming into this evening, which for a guy that on the year is completing at 68% gives you an idea that he's in the 70s with a bunch of different players and just can't get on the same page. Haggerty will step up to punt this one away. Interior rush by the Ticats, puts some pressure on, ball bouncing here. And Poppy White lets this one roll all the way down inside the Ticats' 5-yard line, and he's going nowhere. Great job by Mickey Donovan's Argonauts special teams coverage unit as Tim White. And there's a late flag that comes out here as we get a look at Tim White against Montreal last week, who had himself a day, 14 targets, and he caught most of them.
Yeah, 11 for 145, a couple of touchdowns for Tim White in that ball game. Terrific back and forth matchup between two East Division rivals. Ticats looked like they were in pretty good position in that ball game until David Cote came up with the walk-off game winner.
That was a classic who has the ball last game, was it not? I was standing in this exact same spot with Matt Dunnigan ready to do the Argo Stampeders game. 41 seconds left, and Dunnigan goes, well, that might be the ball game. When Hamilton hit the field goal, I go,
Matty knows better than that.
You've been here for 40 years in this league, Dunnigan. You got to know that Montreal's going to get a shot. As we get a look at the injured Toronto Argonaut Downs, they look like they're working on the ankle, and yeah, Poppy White with black and gold uniforms all over the field. Ooh, just rolled up on underneath. And Dane Evans came out onto the field, was in the huddle, and then Matthew Schultz trotted onto the field, and Evans has gone to the sideline. So again, will it be situational, backed up, quarterback run heavy perhaps here inside their own 5, or is this the question of, do we have a swap? As we will take a quick break as Ben Major, our lead official, calls time, and they tend to the injured Argonaut. As you see, it is Eric Sutton, the 6th round draft pick of the Argonauts, backup free safety here tonight, getting ejected as behind the play when the flags came out. Keandre Smith stepping up and getting away.
Keep an eye in the foreground.
Yep.
And the delivery of what's known in the business as the junk punch. And that will end his night. Maybe a little rivalry. Two guys whose fathers were former corners in the Canadian Football League.
Tim White gets the carry on first down. The injured Argonaut, by the way, as well, was Caleb Holden, the backup boundary halfback. So he's out at this point, getting attended to by the training staff as White rips off a nice chunk run on first down. And he's had some success in the running game on those jet sweeps so far throughout the year, as they mix and match the looks. Poppy White checks in, checks out of the ball game. Jesse Gibbon, extra offensive lineman in the ball game on first down.
Yeah, maybe some more snaps to be had for Jesse Gibbon with Jake Burt going to the injured list this week. Burt, one of those versatile pieces in the Hamilton offense.
Don Jackson gets the handoff, and Holker Woodmansey gets beat into the backfield by what is quickly becoming a favorite in the Argonauts defensive line. As we get a look at Matthew Schultz in the ball game, with crossing the 300-yard mark last week in the loss against Montreal.
Yeah, coming off a couple of starts, as mentioned, with Dane Evans dealing with that shoulder injury. And that's exactly why Matthew Schultz was brought over from Montreal during free agency. Veteran guy with some experience. Allows you to remain competitive when your starter is sidelined.
Schultz communicating with Don Jackson just before the snap. Now he'll look for Jackson. Flips it out into the flats on 2nd and long. Jackson makes 2 men miss and a 3rd, and can't run away from the 4th. And Royce Mechie there to bring him down after a nice yard after catch effort from the Ticats running back.
Yeah, 2nd and extra long situation as you see Don Jackson lined up just behind the goalpost. Checking down on the screen, but Cats aren't able to get the first man blocked, which immediately disrupts the play.
Magala sends this one away. Drops down. Brandon Banks picks it up, drops it, and then he's dropped as it's Desmond Lawrence flying in to make the special teams tackle on Speedy B. Coverage of the U.S. Open begins Monday. Catch 23 Grand Slam victor Serena Williams in action as she competes for the last time on the world stage. TSN is your home for coverage all tournament long.
Get a look at a big effort here on special teams. The Hamilton backup DB, Desmond Lawrence, 2nd-year man.
Bob Bethel Thompson staring down the left side. Tries to force it into Cox. He can't quite get it there. Incomplete on first down.
And I think forced it in is the key in that description. As Jamal Roll was locked on this one right from the get-go. They'll come right to left on your screen. Roll right in that back pocket as the ball is thrown.
Talking about long corners on the Argonauts between Peters and Tavares McFadden. Certainly have that Jamal Roll for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Pressure on second down. This one incomplete as well. Tavares Daniels, the intended receiver, and Carriel Brooks right there to knock it away. So a third 2-and-out in this ball game in the first half for the Double Blue.
Yeah, testing those two veterans on the boundary side for Hamilton back-to-back. Similar routes coming across the middle. But Jamal Roll and Carriel Brooks stand their ground.
Claude Bethel-Thompson, 1 of his last 7. And 3 of 10 overall in the ball game. As this one drops down and Cam Kelly says, I don't mind having a punt return. It'll be a no-yards penalty against Toronto. Good field position here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Tied up at 3 midway through the second quarter on Friday. Matthew Schiltz in action for the Hamilton Tiger Cats last week. Felt like if he had the football last, he might have had an opportunity to pull off the road victory, of which the Ticats have none this season. The only team in the CFL without a victory away from Tim Hortons Field.
Yeah, and as you look for positives, you have to like the way that Matthew Schiltz directed that Hamilton Tiger Cat offense, setting his team up with the lead in the final minute, but just left Trevor Harris a little too much time to get into field goal range.
First and 10 for Schiltz. Takes it inside to Jackson. Hits Dunbar, who goes over the top on Chris Edwards, and a nice chunk play as they began at the 43-yard line after the no yards penalty before the break.
Yeah, nice job by the quarterback, coming back to his right side to find Dunbar on that quick slant. For a quick look to his left, works back to his right.
They get down here inside the score zone, inside the 30. Both Tim White and Stephen Dunbar Jr. each have 16 targets so far on the year. They'll hand it off inside on first down, but amazing balance between their two stud receivers to this point in the season. When they get down here, there's really no tendency. They're most likely to go to either of those two.
And, you know, I mean, adding to the impressiveness of sort of the depth that Hamilton had developed in the receiving core, when you consider, I mean, this is a team, we've talked about the injuries. Obviously, Braylon Addison going out of that lineup. Mike Jones going down in his first game back in black and gold. But, you know, also when you remind yourself about Brandon Banks and, of course, Jalen Ackman leaving in free agency.
They'll hand it off inside with an extra offensive lineman in. It'll be a first down, and now goal to go. As Don Jackson getting plenty of work here. Not big yardage, not big plays, but sticking with the ground game on first or second down.
Yeah, and, you know, I really thought that might have been a little bit of a first quarter tactic with Hamilton working against the wind, going into ball control mode. But as they continue it here into the second quarter, and seeing a fair number of snaps, Marsh, where they're going with the extra offensive linemen and even double tight end formations, running that football, trying to wear down the Toronto front.
Play action this time. Schiltz rolls to his right, throws across his body. Big hit at the goal line, reaching out for the end zone. Lamar Durant. Touchdown, Tiger Cats. What a throw by Matthew Schiltz.
Well, what a throw by Schiltz, and how about the concentration by Durant, hanging onto that football as he gets blasted as the rock arrives. There you see it off play action. Schiltz with a little half roll. Mechie gives Durant a jolt as he catches that one. But Durant, the BC native, he holds on and fights his way in for the game's first major.
second-round pick back in 2015. Hard to believe that he's a 7-year vet, but his first year in the black and gold came in with just 3 catches tonight on the season. He's got 3 catches tonight, and that is his first Hamilton touchdown.
Yeah, first glimpse at what the Hamilton Tiger Cats had in mind when they signed Lamar Durant. He had been let go by the BC Lions. You remember Ed Hervey, now with the Hamilton Tiger Cats organization, was the GM in BC when Durant was signed by the Lions in free agency a couple of years back.
Good starting field position led to a 4-play, 43-yard drive in just over 2:25, pieced together by Matthew Schultz, beginning with this nice slant to Stephen Dunbar.
Yeah, Schultz doing a nice job here, coming in for his stint in relief of Dane Evans. Lamar Durant out of Centennial Secondary School in Coquitlam, BC. Ultimately finished up his career at Simon Fraser University, where he was absolutely dominant. Started his career at the University of Nevada.
And a big tackle right in front of the Tiger Cats bench as a flag came up on the kickoff. McLeod Bethel-Thompson still at quarterback. Ben Major, our lead official here this evening.
Offside, Hamilton 28. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll redo the kickoff 5 yards back.
And the first-year linebacker out of Florida, Orshawn Joseph, jumps from the practice roster to start his 3rd game this year, running around on specials, and now he's going to have to run again.
I always hated having to run again.
Well, we had a great conversation this week about things that you want to improve on, whether it's lifting or running, with a couple of the guys we chatted with. And you said, I always love lifting. I hate running. I hated
running. I did have a couple of off seasons where I put in a lot of time. So the off season where I actually put in the most time running, doing speed work, worked hard, felt fast, and sure enough, that was a year where we didn't do any testing in training camp. So I didn't get to show off my 4.8 speed.
That's the one year where you came in and said, Coach, can we run? I'd really like to run. Here we go again. The Ticats special teams coverage unit with a longer field to carry. They're trying to chase it down. Grant McDonald turns it inside. Desmond Lawrence can't make the tackle. David Unger finally does the job at the 25-yard line. The receiver has to cover down.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's a big one for David Unger, kind of sending a message, right? This is a guy who has sometimes had his opportunities to get on the roster limited by the fact that he's not seen as a special teamer. Seen as a guy who may have trouble staying on the roster unless he's starting at receiver. Unger looking to dispel that notion, coming up with a special teams tackle there. Nice job. The University of Idaho product.
As mentioned, McLeod Bethel-Thompson, before the special teams flag stays on, they empty it out 3 by 3. Pressure coming, has to get away with the football, flips it out to the sideline, and Brandon Banks does make the catch along that sideline before Jamal Roll is right there.
Watch big Micah Johnson in the middle of that defensive line, supplying a little bit of heat on MBT, fighting his way through what starts out as a double team. Here you see the former teammates, Roll and Banks, coming together.
Second down and 7. Macbeth goes down in the backfield. The 28th sack allowed by the Toronto Argonauts in 2022 will end their drive quickly.
Watch Bennett, who's lined up at the bottom of your screen, his defensive end spot, looping to the inside. They free him up for the big play. Mason Bennett, something of a sack master during his time at the University of North Dakota.
His second sack of the season to go along with 14 tackles. Was limited in practice with a knee, but looks fresh there. As Poppy White goes down that same sideline, he had the big return in the East Final right here at BMO Field last year as There's a flag down on the play, and Micah Johnson with a unique connection to the Toronto Argonauts,
Hamilton, number
specifically
27,
Corey Mace. Matthew Shinetti has more.
10-yard penalty.
In my time in the CFL, Marshall, I have heard a lot of coaches try to convince players to stay with the team in a lot of ways, but one thing Corey Mace tried to do in 2017 is convince Micah Johnson to stay in Calgary, and by that he said, listen, I will name my first child after you. Now, Corey Mace and his wife had a daughter, and they named her Melina, but it did convince Micah Johnson to stay, and many will remember that Micah Johnson had an incredible 2018. But a little while ago, yes, in fact, Corey Mace did have a son and did name him Micah. The one thing Micah told me before the game, myself and Corey have a big connection. Coming out of Kentucky, a lot of people didn't really understand who I was. Corey Mace did. I'm glad my legacy and our friendship will live on, guys.
Amazing story, Matthew. Thank you. As Matthew Schultz gets knocked around the pocket, completing the pass out to Keandre Smith, who's been involved on special teams and now on offense. But incredible to see Corey Mace hold on and remember that and be held accountable to that. But I mean, if you're in coaching, accountability is important.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, again, speaking to the great relationship, I mean, when you talk to a number of players about Corey Mace, all you get is accolades. You know, a guy like Micah Johnson, who is obviously playing against Mace right now. We had a conversation with Winton McManus this week about his relationship with Mace as well.
As you see the misdirection that time, the Tiger Cats playing off that jet sweep they've had success with this year, Dwayne, going to Tim White and going counter with Poppy White underneath.
Yeah, it's part of who they are. You see Tim White coming towards the bottom of your screen, Poppy going the other way. You know, they may lose a few points on execution, but in terms of end result, a first down, they'll take it.
That's one where Tommy Condell, offensive coordinator, when they watch the film, says, please don't do that again. Let's clean that up. Otherwise, it's not getting called again, but a nice misdirection look. He gets the first down for the Tiger Cats. As Schultz over the top, looking for Durant, and had him down the sideline as it looked like perhaps a busted coverage. Durant could have had a house call again for his second of the ball game. His first in the black and gold. Schultz rolling, finds the BC native, and a nose for the end zone gives Hamilton the 10-3 lead as we hit the 3-minute warning.
Passing, 2 picks and 1 fumble. Gentlemen, anyone?
The 2 starting quarterbacks from tonight.
Dave Naylor, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Macbeth and Dane Evans.
Oh, man.
We'll have good stuff at half, we promise.
I got good stuff right now, Kate.
Can't get anything past Dave Naylor. He knew. They'll have some great stuff for you back there at half, but still plenty to decide with just a 7-point deficit. Hamilton in control on a 2nd and 10 in Argonauts territory. Matthew Schultz is the quarterback. Drops the draw handoff to Don Jackson, churning the legs. Might not have had it on first effort, but Haggerty, the Saskatchewan product, couldn't bring him down.
Yeah, take a look at the work of this Hamilton offensive line. Ashenpong is basically stunting out of the middle, making Colter Woodmansey's job nice and easy.
I'm just giggling here, Dwayne, as they bring out the sticks, because I'm thinking, for you as a former fullback running back, is there any friendlier look on the planet to run a draw against than defensive linemen running themselves out of the picture? That makes you smile.
Well, it really does. It really does.
As it will be a Tiger Cats first down as they get the draw on 2nd down to move the sticks.
Yeah, it's one of those video game moments to me where you have, this is the offensive play that matches up against that defensive play for big yards.
So a fresh set as Dane Evans looks on from the sideline here. And Matthew Schultz, after going 27 of 39 last week, 6 of 7 and a touchdown thus far. Shows run, gives run right into the middle of that defense. And it's Brendan Barlow into the lineup, stacking it up and turning him around.
Yeah, Boston College product getting a shot. That defensive end rotation this week. Barlow coming from the left side of your screen. And the middle of that defense, not quite as friendly a look
About to say that's
as it was on the previous play.
a play after it made you smile as a running back or fullback. You're reading one player and another guy shows up in the worst possible spot. Leaves second down and 10 as Barlow communicates. Schultz looks down the field and flips it out into the flats. Don Jackson has work to do if he wants it. He'll get pushed out of bounds, shy of the first down marker. And special teams coordinator in Hamilton, Craig Butler, looks at Orlando Steinauer and says, "We kicking? We're kicking."
Out goes the field goal team. Matthew Schultz remaining on the field as the holder. Craig Butler, there's a guy whose career was just too short for my liking.
I agree. So much fun to watch him play football. But a tremendous coach that's worked his way up through the ranks as a Canadian and doing a great job with this special teams unit. As it will be Seth Small from 30 yards away. And he knocks it through to extend the lead for Hamilton.
Seth Small proving to be pretty reliable find for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as their field goal kicker. Taking over from Michael Domagala in that role.
Just his 7th game played in the Canadian Football League, and hitting everything here so far this evening as the Argonauts take the football at the 40-yard line. Clyde Bethel-Thompson with 5 receivers at his disposal. Looks to the right-hand side and finds a completion. The rare first-half completion at this point, as he had just 4 coming up to that snap. But hey, if you're going to go anywhere, why not go to the leading Canadian receiver in the league?
Yeah, Mr. Consistency as far as the Toronto Argonauts are concerned. Curly Gittens.
To the outside this time, sneaking it down the sideline. It's Brandon Banks running free. Pushed out of bounds by Tunde Adeleke, but Speedy B against his old club. And that might be a preview of things to come on Labor Day next week in Hamilton with plenty of emotion flying around.
And you're going to see a rare instance. Keep an eye on Jamal Roll out on the corner. A rare instance where it looks like Roll kind of misjudges that throw, and he's late on his jump to get there, kind of tries to run underneath it to make a play, but is late enough that Banks just kind of backs out towards the sidelines and takes off for a big Argonaut gain.
Gain of 38 will improve his 14.3-yard average over the top. Flag comes out. Defensive pass interference as Tavares Daniels was lunging for the ball. Jamal Roll doesn't like it. Makes the case. And the only way that that argument will be won is likely via challenge.
Pass interference. Hamilton, number 25. The foul occurred in the goal area. Therefore, it's going to be first down on the 1-yard line.
A replay may reveal something different. At full speed, this certainly looked like a legit call. Well, interesting case, as it looked like it was Daniels hanging himself up on the defender more than vice versa.
And the challenge flag does come out right before the snap here. The officials do see it as Chad Kelly had checked into the ball game looking for his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year, but it was a late throw from Orlando Steinauer, but an emphatic one once he got word. You had the feeling that might be challenge worthy, especially here late in the half, going all the way down to the 1-yard line with the foul occurring in the end zone.
Yeah, and again, watching the play live, you could certainly see why the official felt that it was pass interference.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling on the last play. They believe there was no pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
As you see a moment where the 2 players come together and Daniels slows down. But when you watch again, you see it looks like Daniels kind of trying to do a bit of a swim over top of Roll, ends up hanging himself up on the defender's helmet. That is really the source of the contact.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one, Dwayne, because it really is a question of it's a good call on the field based on what you saw.
Yeah.
But when you use the challenge system to review it as we do, there is a decent chance that that is not defensive pass interference because he was in the right spot at the right time defending and just got hooked.
Yeah, I would be a little disappointed if this one is not turned over.
Ben Major, our lead official this evening, in communication with command. As Jason Maggio is the replay official taking a look at it in the command center, and similar to week 10 between the Ticats and Argos with a slow end to the first half.
Yeah.
As they try to sort out penalties, would-be penalties, perhaps, challenges. And Ben Major has the call.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field is overturned. There is no pass interference on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 18-yard line.
Those who made the trip from Hamilton love it. And those from Toronto here do not, as Dylan Wynn sprints back to where the football is marked to get set up for 2nd and 10.
And Jamal Roll feels vindicated.
As he should, as Orlando Steinauer does as well. 16 for 23 in his career challenges. 70% success rate. And also interesting so far this year, he's 4 of 7 on challenges. As we get a look at the challenge flag throw, it comes out of the pocket, rips it.
The commitment to that throw by Coach O.
Of the 7 challenges that he has put into reality this year, 5 of them have now come on defense. So protecting his guys, the former Ticats defensive coordinator, as Bethel Thompson steps up, slings it to the left, and just brought down shy of the goal line. It's Tavares Daniels. Carriel Brooks wrapped him up. Ball came out, but not until Daniels was already down. So after all of that, it's a 2nd and 10 conversion, bringing it down inside the 5-yard line where the Argos were already going to be set up.
Yeah, nice job here by Bethel Thompson, navigating the pocket, stepping up, eyes downfield, spotting Daniels. Micah Johnson comes up hobbling after the play.
And he's slow behind the Argonauts offensive huddle, so they'll take a look at him. Ted Laurent scratched from tonight's ball game, and so Chris Mulumba, number 92, will make his way out onto the field in that defensive front. As you see the big man out of Ole Miss, wishing he could be in the middle of that defensive line right now. Halftime coming up, just 45 seconds away. Chezzy, Dunnigan, Milt, and Kate ready to break it down and tee up what should be a sensational back end of the Friday night football doubleheader between BC and Saskatchewan. They're partying out there in Vancouver right now, right? They got the patios, and the roof is open, and what a night that should be as Michael O'Connor gets his start. Tailgate alive and well as we get a look at the back end of this play.
The revenge of Tavares Daniels after the overturned pass interference call.
So 1st and goal from the left hash. Extra offensive lineman in. By Bethel Thompson rolls to his right. Pressure on. Julian Hauser there, has to get it away, and just barely prevents Hauser from racking up yet another sack on the season. He has 5 leading the Tiger Cats. Very nearly his 6th right there.
Yeah, credit to McLeod Bethel Thompson on this one to be able to get rid of the football and protect the field position. It looked like Hauser had him completely wrapped up.
Now 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. And Beth stays in the gun. A.J. Ouellette next to him. Play action, flips it out flats. Touchdown, Curly Gittens Jr. as the Argonauts close the gap here at the end of the first half.
Terrific execution on the short yardage play there from the Toronto Argonauts. Drawing in the defense with the fake to the running back Ouellette. They bring Gittens across the formation, kind of lose him behind that offensive line. Slip him out in the flag. See Andrew Harris among those offering their congratulations on the sidelines.
6 plays, 70 yards in less than a minute. And with just 23 seconds to spare, Toronto gets the score they needed. As Curly Gittens Jr. We asked him this week about being one of the leading receivers in Canadian football. He said, that's nice. I'm not really thinking about it very much. Always humble, down to earth, but extremely productive so far for the Double Blue this season as he's become a marquee name in this league.
Yeah, a guy who says he just wants to get wins. You know, that stuff is nice, but it's not what he plays for. McLeod Bethel Thompson a little fired up over there. Hoping this will spark his team heading into the second half.
And to give you a sense of the success that McLeod Bethel Thompson has had targeting Curly Gittens Jr. so far through this season. We were talking earlier about Brandon Banks and only being able to complete 43% of passes to Speedy B. How about 78% completion rate to Curly Gittens Jr. on the year? He is quarterback friendly and a no-doubter that time for the Major. Morris Beatty puts this one on a tee and leans in his league best kickoff average down to the 25. Returned by Tim White. And with 18 seconds remaining before we send it to the panel at halftime, Tiger Cats offense takes the field, and once again it is Matthew Schultz's. Dane Evans continues to watch on.
Interesting twist with the Tiger Cats offense this week. We have Jalen Morton comes on as the number 3 quarterback with Jamie Newman a little bit nicked up. Morton, Schultz, and Evans all trained together.
In the offseason down south, and here they are tonight in Toronto. They'll throw on first down. Stephen Dunbar. And the Argos defensive backs go ripping for the football as Coulter Woodmansey right there trying to dig out number 8.
Yeah, the big fella, former Guelph Griffin Woodmansey, a first-round pick in 2020, getting out there to help protect his receiver.
Second down and short. Clock running inside 5 seconds in the first half. Schultz over the middle. Another completion. This one goes to Poppy White. McLeod Bethel Thompson says that's the end of the half. They haven't waved the flag as of yet. And we'll see whether or not they tack a second on to the game clock here as Ben Major communicates to see whether or not the tackle was made. Tiger Cats sending out the field goal unit regardless in hopes.
Well, Domagala's out there. I don't see Seth Small.
There is 1 second left on the game clock. 1 second left.
Well, Brandon Banks goes back. Should this be a missed field goal, but they are keeping Schultz out there and they are putting a tee down. So Seth Small has been the field goal kicker. Domagala has kicked field goals so far this year, was 12 of 16 with a long of 52. This one is going to be from 57. He's going to take a run at this thing.
How about the approach here?
Now is this
at his back? Is he like trying to kick for a signal?
I was about to say, is this line up with field goal unit and then try to kick somebody onside? They'll shorten it up now as they take the tee off. Here comes Seth Small. Were they trying to make it look like punt, and now it's field goal? Trickeration in episode 3 of Ticats Argos. Dwayne, thoughts?
Well, I'm trying to piece this one together because they were in field goal formation the entire time, but clearly Domagala wasn't going to take a 10-yard run.
Small leans into it. The depth, it's good. Knocks it through. A massive field goal for Seth Small at the end of the half, as somehow, some way, with 2 quick throws, Hamilton gets in what really wasn't field goal position, but Small just hammered this thing. As flags come up, as the teams head to their tunnel, And Orlando Steinauer and the Hamilton proud, Hamilton faithful celebrate the big kick from Seth Small. It's a 6-point lead for Hamilton in the third of 4 regular season matchups. Let's send it to the panel. Kate and the As the Hamilton Tiger Cats rally at the end of the half for the long field goal, we go down to the sidelines. It is Matthew Shinetti with Jamal Peters.
Jamal, you unsettled Dane Evans early in that first half. How are you going to do it to Matthew Schultz in the third quarter?
I just got to keep playing my game, keep playing slow, take what offense give me, and then I should do the same in the second half.
We've seen a lot of emotion over the last 2 games between these 2 teams. How do you keep it at a certain level where the intensity is there, but it's not getting out of hand?
We just stay poised. I mean, we talked about it during the week. Then we'd emphasize that we just stay poised, just keep playing, let our pass do the talking.
Thanks, Jamal.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Matthew. As Jamal Peters making big plays in that first half, all over the field, tackling as well. As Kate mentioned, during halftime, it was Chris Edwards taking a misconduct penalty, which is why you see that football spotted all the way up at the 45-yard line here after the first half was done, after the huge 58-yard field goal by Seth Small. It's Michael Domagala sending it away down to the 10-yard line. Brought in by Curly Gittens Jr. as he returns it out to the 20. And the Chris Edwards penalty will lead to some poor starting field position here for McLeod Bethel Thompson as we get a look at his first half, Dwayne.
Yeah, you heard much debate from the panel, obviously, about the Toronto Argonauts quarterback situation. The early interception by Rodney Randall Jr. not helping, but again, Bethel Thompson showing some flashes, putting together a nice scoring drive there before the end of the half, but as we said, off the top. Ryan Dinwiddie is looking for consistency from that quarterback spot.
3 games so far this year of 300+ yards. He sits at just 99 as we begin the second half. It is A.J. Ouellette churning his legs through the middle of that defense. It is Ouellette, by the way, as we found out from his mom. Last week we called him A.J. Ouellette here, and Mom said, listen, in Ohio, it's A.J. Ouellette. So we are honoring her wishes, as told to me by Mike Hogan of the Argos, and Ouellette goes right through the middle of that defense.
Yeah, I love Ouellette's running style, just straight downhill, physical guy.
And DeVaris Daniels makes the grab on first down that time, but he is a physical runner. Last week, really wasn't able to get the legs churning much at all. 6 carries, 18 yards, but he did have 7 catches out of the backfield. He had a stinger early in this one, so we haven't seen a whole lot of them.
Javon Leake was on in relief, as you see the Argos injured starting running back Andrew Harris on the sideline.
As the corner ball dropped in beautifully by McLeod Bethel Thompson to Markeith Ambles. Crossing midfield for 17 as he spins and leaves it behind.
Yeah, this is a nice touch pass by McLeod Bethel Thompson. Little adjustment by Ambles. You'll see the inside receiver here kind of looking towards corner, but tailing back a little bit towards the line of scrimmage, adjusting to that ball.
Bethel Thompson in the gun, 1st and 10. Looks to the right, wanted to go to Curly Gittens Jr., checks it down underneath to Ouellette. As it will be a flag coming up in the backfield that Ben Major and crew will sort out as Ryan Dinwiddie goes to the call sheet.
We have a face mask against them.
Sounds like a face mask from field level here. And the Argonauts walk backwards as Ben Major asks Orlando Steinauer what he'd like to do.
Major foul, face mask, Toronto number 67. It's a 15-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
That's the second big one against the rookie Gregor McKellar at left guard, Dwayne.
Yeah, tough matchup here for McKellar. He's going to end up working on against Dylan Wynn, who's lined up on his inside shoulder on this play. Sort of a club move there by Wynn, and you see McKellar's hands come up to the mask. Wes McKellar started his career at Rice University.
The 6th overall pick hangs in this time as McLeod Bethel-Thompson finds Coxie, who had the first 2 catches of the first half, and they go back to 86 to begin the second half here as the Argonauts will take a chunk of yardage back and set up 2nd down and about 14 to go. Quick lead to the line of scrimmage as they flip Tavares Daniels and Coxie off the line of scrimmage. 5 options for McLeod Bethel-Thompson underneath, and it bounces off the hands of the usually reliable Curly Gittens Jr. Looked like Mason Bennett might have thrown a little his hands into the fray on this one.
Yeah, I don't think Bennett touched it, but I think he created just enough of a distraction there to disrupt Curly Gittens on the play. Normally sure-handed 3rd-year Argonaut receiver.
So unable to haul in his 3rd catch of the ball game. And did what he wishes that they had that one. Looks like, well, you know what? These 2 teams are famous for playing shot for shot against each other. And it was a 58-yarder at the end of the first half. This one from 56.5 away from Morris Beatty, and that would have been good from 66.5. There's no question that 14 in double blue has the leg for that one, as that will be his longest of the season. Previously 52, knocks this one through from far away. 16-13, Hamilton with the lead early second half in Toronto. The ultimate race around the country is back. Get into an all-new The Amazing Race Canada Tuesday at 9/8 Central, only on CTV. Set your PVR. I wonder where they're going this week.
How do you think we'd do on The Amazing Race?
You know what? I think our teamwork would be exceptional, but we'd probably squabble over the meaningless things, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to get a cab or you want to take a trolley? I don't know. We'd get stuck in the mud, maybe. As the Ticats try to get their offense moving on 1st and 10. Tracked down from behind. He cost them the 15 yards at the end of the first half. And he makes up for it with a tackle for a loss here, just barely, but tracking down Tim White from behind on a jet sweep, that ain't no joke.
I'll tell you what, Chris Edwards is a difference maker on defense, and you know, a guy who sometimes over the course of his career has drawn attention for the wrong reasons, but this dude can flat out play football.
Yep, no doubt. 3 defensive linemen in the game here for the Argonauts against the 3-man rush. Schultz looks over the top. Open man, Tim White, corner route. Caught it, tries to turn back inside. Loses his footing, but a nice throw over the top of coverage. Dropping 9 out and still finding an open receiver that time is Matthew Schultz.
Yeah, nice touch here. You're going to see White really with lots of room to work. Out to the wide side of the field, just 2 receivers out there, and you see Stephen Dunbar on the short route. Kind of holds coverage down, creating a little bit of room next level for Timmy White to do his thing.
3rd tackle of the ball game for Deshaun Amos, as Tim White adds to his tally. 1st and 10. Ticats in Argonauts territory. Schultz quickly gets it out to Don Jackson. Jamal Peters not looking, just being run off by Stephen Dunbar, and that left open a running lane for Jackson to pick up a nice 1st down on 1st down once again here for the Hamilton offense.
Yeah, good job setting this one up by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You're going to see Dunbar on the outside and Garon Gauthier coming from his tight end spot. They're sort of the 2 lead blockers on this one. But once again, a play call that sort of catches the Toronto Argonauts in the right defense. They're sitting back with not a lot of support there.
It is a gain of 14 yards, and it's the 14th touch of the ball game for Don Jackson. He's got 6 catches. He's got 8 carries. Playing a big part in this offense tonight in Toronto. And he gets another handoff on the inside, and on 1st and 10, right in the middle of it, Winton McManus points to the nameplate on the back and celebrates as he adds to his tally on the year.
Yeah, former Calgary Stampeder teammates McManus and Jackson working in opposite directions on that one as we take a look at the body of work tonight for Mr. Jackson. A little nicked up after that one. We'll keep an eye on him on the sidelines.
And just as we sing his praises, that right arm not moving real well as he came off to the sidelines. So Sean Thomas Erlington is in. They'll empty it out as they opted to do with 31 in the ball game. Offside against the Argonauts will be the flag. Schultz with a free look over the middle, incomplete. And it will still be advantage Hamilton here on the flag as it looked like Schultz fell with the hard count.
Toronto number 40. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll replay second down.
Just going back, you see Don Jackson. One play earlier. Calling for a sub here as he's sort of flexing his elbow as he goes off.
Walking around with the football, seeing how much strength he's got in that right hand right now as the Ticats break the huddle on 2nd down and 3. Four-man rush from the Argos. Schultz over the top, open receiver, 10 wide, dropped it in the end zone. Very nearly back-to-back weeks with a major for number 12, but he can't haul it in.
Yeah, kind of a tough adjustment on that one as White was working towards the corner. Maybe thinking this one's coming over his outside shoulder. It comes to the inside a little bit. You see the route here, heads for the corner, looks over his outside shoulder. Ball's going to sort of bend him back in a little bit. He has trouble tracking it as it comes over the shoulder on him.
And an injured Argonaut is down on the field as it will be 3rd down and 3. The field goal unit comes out for Hamilton.
Got exactly the look they wanted on that one. One of their go-to guys open in the end zone.
Well, Schultz wanted it. He had great success with throws 20 yards or more down the field even last week, and it falls incomplete, leaving the field goal for the hero at the end of the first half. Seth Small, who digs into this one from a very makeable distance, and more action after the field goal is done. We'll clean it up when we come back as Hamilton extends. Friday night football trivia is alive and well here on the front end of a doubleheader Friday night football. Who was the first player to rush for 3 touchdowns in Friday night football history? Dwayne, let it sit. Think about it. McLeod Bethel-Thompson in the gun. 1st and 10. Rips it to the sideline. Curly Gibbs Jr. hangs on to that one as he's wrapped up by Rodney Randall Jr. Five-yard gain on the play leaves 2nd and actually about 4-yard gain. They'll spot it, so 2nd down and 6 as the Argonauts start to raise the tempo a little bit. Will let in the backfield, looking over the top. Bethel-Thompson trying to squeeze it in to Markeith Ambles. And the corner at that time taken away by Tunde Adeleke, rolling down for free safety.
And this is a nice demonstration of the range of Tunde Adeleke. You can see him in the top right corner of the screen. Just terrific acceleration to the football.
One of the best free safeties in the Canadian Football League. As the return dropped down at the end of the play. And Anthony Federico rolling around, knocked away. Adeleke makes the play and holds. It was a great night to enjoy the 3rd of 4 QEW rivalry matchups here. Labor Day lingering just off in the distance. You can feel the temperature starting to rise between these two clubs with the emotion in Hamilton that always comes out at the start of September. Matthew Schultz against a 5-man rush will get this one out quick on a screen and flying into the backfield that time. Once again, it looked like Maurice Carnell was there to make the play. And a flag comes up.
suspect this could be a hold against the Hamilton receiver trying to block.
Illegal block, Hamilton number 4. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
Well, illegal block suggesting it may have come before the pass was thrown.
Seems like Poppy was maybe regretting his choice of who to go and block on that one.
Push in the back there. Carnell, who's been a nice story for Toronto, a guy who they liked in training camp, but he got injured. They wanted to keep him around, but just in juggling numbers, etc., sent him home for a bit, but happy to get him back once he had healed and plugged him right into the starting lineup.
Schultz in trouble in the backfield, thought about trying to throw it away, dangerously laid it out as Shane Ray makes the play.
Yeah, Shane Ray now in his second Canadian Football League season, former first-round pick of the Denver Broncos. Really finding his way as a pass rusher. Always a high motor guy. Has worked hard over the course of his career on that aspect of his game.
Well, after 1st and 20, the sack takes it back 2 yards. 2nd and 22 from their own end of the field in survival mode here for the Tiger Cats on this possession. Just trying to carve out enough room to punt this one away. And they look like they will successfully do so as Schultz comes to the sideline a little gingerly as well. Looks like he might have taken a helmet to the right wrist as they'll take a look at him making his way off the field. Michael Domagala, who lined up as though he would take the 15-yard running field goal at the end of the first half and then exited stage right. Ready to punt this one away. Down the middle of the field, it'll drop just inside Ticats territory. Trying to bounce it to the outside. Wall of tacklers is there. Stavros Katsantonis, one of the first on the spot. As we get our answer to Friday Night Football trivia, the first time the Ticats and the Argos played against each other on Friday Night Football. That's a flag. Spike it in the face of the opponent. That used to be a flag, right?
Ronald Williams, briefly my teammate. I signed with Hamilton as a free agent in 2001, anticipating that I would be blocking for Ronald Williams. Just before I came off the injured list, I got hurt at the start of the year. Just before I came off the injured list, he got released. We never played a game together.
Brandon Banks with the end-around handoff. We'll get around the edge on that one. Did you enjoy your time as a Tiger Cat, Dwayne? It seems as though it was an eventful but short-lived.
2 years as a Tiger Cat. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed my time as a Calgary Stampeder much more.
Well, I think Brandon Banks so far would say he enjoyed his time as a Tiger Cat a little bit more than with Toronto, but he's certainly starting to warm up here in the third of their 4 matchups. Big gain down the far sideline earlier, end around getting involved. This is a tackle up high, looks like likely a horse collar against Hamilton as Ouellette drives the legs on first down and gets a nice gain. As we'll get a look at the penalty here, and Orlando Steinauer getting the tap on the backside of what's happening with Matthew Schultz, perhaps, as they continue to look at him. As Mohamed Diallo.
Major foul, horse collar tackle. Hamilton, number 96, will go up half the distance from the end of the play. It's going to be first down.
It looked like it was Diallo, 94, that got hurt there, or came in on the flag, I should say, as Matthew Schultz continues to get looked at, and looks like they are concerned about his ability to go back in the ball game. So expect Dane Evans to be warming up at this point to go back into a game in which he started. For now, it's the Argos looking to the end zone, over the top. Shot! Caught! Tavares Daniels! His 3rd touchdown of the season.
Quick recognition and a well-placed ball from McLeod Bethel Thompson here. play a big role in the Toronto Argonaut touchdown. Brooks was sort of trailing from the outside as Daniels went down the seam. Adeleke slightly delayed getting over.
All of a sudden, in a game in which it felt like Hamilton was finding answers, ways to stay out in front. With 4:45 remaining in the third quarter, Matthew Schultz getting looked at by the training staff, and McLeod Bethel-Thompson dealing to Daniels.
Man of the moment, Devaris Daniels is on the receiving end of that touchdown pass. He's going to work out of the slot here and keep an eye on the halfback, Cariel Brooks. He's playing with outside leverage. Free safety Tunde Adeleke is coming over, but he's a little late as he's held by the post route coming from the other side. See Adeleke first kind of looking to his right. He's got a post route coming at him that holds him. He can't leave to get over to provide that help from the inside for Cariel Brooks. Quick read and release by McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Results in that Toronto Argonaut touchdown.
13 yards is where it will end up on the touchdown to Devaris Daniels. There's a huge kick with the wind is his back for Boris Beattie here. Tim White returns it across the 20, across the 30, wrapped up at the 36-yard line. Let's go down to Matthew Chenet with more on the situation of Matthew Schultz.
Well, right now Matthew Schultz is on the sidelines, and when he came off the field following that last Ticats drive, they immediately looked at his wrist and his thumb. Interim athletic therapist for the Ticats, Scott Shannon, and his staff were looking at it. And over the course of a few minutes, Matthew Schultz got progressively more disappointed. Tried to squeeze the hand a few times. He couldn't do it. And then fist bumped Dane Evans. Quarterback change yet again for the Ticats, guys.
Don Jackson dealing with a right arm or wrist earlier. Some tingly fingers as he's back on the field. Schultz is out. Evans is in. And it is Poppy White making the grab in his return to the lineup tonight. But really the story of this Tiger Cats roster right now, when we talked to Orlando Steinauer this week, Wayne, was there's a lot of moving pieces, and that hasn't changed even in-game here tonight.
Yeah, and for a team that sort of relies on a level of versatility and likes to play a lot of different personnel packages, it starts to create some limitations when you have bodies go down. I mean, even as simple as using the two quarterback packages they have with really as much regularity as any team in the league, can't do it when Schultz is down.
Evans loads it up, thought about taking a shot, now pressure on, floats it up, and it's intercepted. Did he get a foot down? They'll say yes. It'll be the second of the night for Jamal Peters from the right hand of Dane Evans, as floating it up in the air to nobody in particular, and Schultz looks on despondent.
Yeah, and you have to think in this instance that Dane Evans, as he's being tackled, is trying to throw this ball away out of bounds. But because he's being hauled down by Robbie Smith, can't get much on it. It hangs up, doesn't make it to the sidelines. And Jamal Peters just says, thank you very much.
Interceptions 11 and 12 on the year now for Dane Evans, as the Argonauts empty it out. Sudden change, trying to make a play. It's Curly Gittens Jr. wrapped up. And Micah Johnson back on the field. Good to see for Hamilton there, as Evans goes to take another look at it, as we will.
Yeah, see from that angle, Tim White in the picture, that maybe that was Evans' intended destination for the ball, but regardless, unable to get much on it as Robbie Smith is pulling him down.
Brandon Banks late motion here for the Argos offense. They'll look over the middle to Speedy B. Catches it at the 24 and brought down at the 17-yard line. First down Argos.
As you mentioned, Marsh, after a slow start to this ball game in terms of that Bethel-Thompson to Banks connection, these two guys seem to be finding their way a little bit here in the second half.
Play action on first down. Flip it out. Marquise Campbell's diving forward for a gain of 3, but you really do get the sense that this is one of the better nights for Brandon Banks. He seems like he's in rhythm as Jamal Peters waits for his offense to capitalize off the second interception of the night.
Yeah, so much expected of Brandon Banks coming over from Hamilton in free agency. There have been moments. He's caught a few touchdown passes here at home.
Back down inside the score zone for the Argos. They just cashed in with Tavares Daniels. Where will they go here? Ambles over the middle, dives into the end zone. Touchdown Argos as they extend their lead.
Well, and what has been a troubling trend for the Hamilton Tiger Cats for much of this season. Second half struggles. Continuing here tonight as the Argos take hold of all of the momentum with a couple of quick back-to-back third quarter majors.
Talked to a CFL quarterback earlier today, so what should I be expecting to look for with this Toronto Argonauts offense? So, well, they haven't been able to beat man coverage very much lately. That time it was Markeith Ambles running away from Cam Kelly, who's tied for the league lead in interceptions. And Ambles gets into the end zone to extend the lead with the extra point, a 27-19 ball game. As we head to the end of the third quarter and another successful drive pieced together by McLeod Bethel-Thompson after the interception from Dane Evans.
Yeah, I was going to say short field for Bethel-Thompson to start this one off the turnover. But nice response, or at least follow-up by the Argonaut offense after getting a big play from their D.
And the CNE crowd here in attendance sees McLeod Bethel-Thompson move into fourth place past some guy named Flutie on the Argonauts all-time passing yardage record. And hey, never say never. He sticks around long enough. There's another guy named Damon Allen that's just up the road. And as this kick drops into the end zone, and Tim White lucky to see that one skip through. I think he thought he was playing American rules there, a little touchback action. And a little bit of jostling along the Tiger Cats sideline here as they make their way to their respective benches. Out comes Dane Evans, and again, trying to overcome, coming back from injury. 2 last games he has been out of the lineup. Starts tonight, gets pulled for Matthew Schultz. Schultz gets injured, and now he's throwing a second interception, and a bad one at that. And he has to overcome it, trailing.
Just a reminder, with that ball going through the end zone untouched. As you said, touchback, so no single point. They'll start at the 25-yard line.
And Evans will begin on the ground inside to Don Jackson, and the double blue D was ready for that one. No movement up front as you see Matthew Schultz on the sideline nursing the injury.
Yet another unfortunate turn of events for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The list of injuries that they've had on offense just continues to grow. It's been a constant storyline for this team from the start of the season.
Schultz was 13 of 15 here tonight for 144 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's about as clean as it gets. Knocked out of the game. This time it'll be offside against Toronto. Actually, no flag came up. Looked like Deontay Knight might have jumped into a single yard between, but a quick completion out to Keandre Smith will bring up about half a yard shy of the first down marker.
Smith, the first-year man out of Guelph. His Griffins open the OUA season tomorrow afternoon in London against my beloved Western Mustangs.
Back on the road in Carleton. Nice little start. Corey Grant, the former CFL receiver, new head coach at Carleton, up against Steph Patacic.
Yeah, his head coaching debut, former McMaster assistant.
Great day of university football. And of course, Friday night football doubleheader here as Jalen Morton comes in on 3rd and short, dives his way forward to extend the drive. And that will be the third quarter, controlled by the Toronto Argonauts. using the ground attack. Accuracy from McLeod Bethel Thompson. A pair of touchdowns through the air. And the double blue in control as we head to the fourth on Friday Night Football. Well, it is just an 8-point advantage for Toronto, but certainly feels like they have found their rhythm offensively here. Still not up to the net yardage of what we've seen from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but really it's the turnover battle and certainly the rhythm of the game leaning towards Toronto as we begin the fourth.
Yeah, it really is. And a turnover issue for Hamilton that they thought they had sort of left behind them after the first 4 games of the season and that winless start, but coming back to haunt them a little bit here in an important divisional game.
And it is a fantastic psychological challenge on the table right now for Dane Evans in a place where he was hurt last year in the East Final. His neck getting injured as he dove forward on the goal line. He was hurt here back in week number 9 against the Toronto Argonauts with his shoulder. And back in the lineup and trying to find a way to throw his way back into the game. Tim White makes the grab. But, oh, man, there was an opportunity there down the right sideline for Keandre Smith. It's easy to see from on up high, Dwayne, but you are pointing and shouting at this one.
Yeah, I was yelling. I'm sure Keandre Smith was as well. He's going to be wide open down the rail here. McFadden comes down on that fake to Poppy White. Even Poppy White is saying, throw it to him.
That way. Second down and long in the first half. Second down conversions, Hamilton 7 of 13. So far in the second, just 1 of 5. Evans thought about going deep again, rolls to the right underneath. It is Keandre Smith, and it will be enough for the first down. So just the second down conversion of this second half.
Yeah, nice poise under pressure there. Dane Evans stepping up.
Heard that one hit the shoulder pads. He put a little extra oomph into it maybe after missing that bust on the last throw. Break the huddle. Don Jackson alone back with White and Dunbar to Evans' right. This time they show handoff to Poppy White. Flip it out. Quickly Tim White on his feet, bouncing around the springiness of the former triple jumper, picking up a first down into Argonauts territory.
Yeah, I like the execution of this one, kind of get that full flow going to the right. Throw back into the hole as the defense starts kind of rotating towards the sideline.
Empty it out, 3 by 3 they go. Evans wants it quick. This time he rips it, it's intercepted! Going back the other direction, the third interception of the night for number 3. House call. Jamal Peters, touchdown.
Well, Jamal Peters kind of sucked in Dane Evans on this one. Sits back for a minute on Tim White as the quarterback is looking off. As soon as he comes back White's way, Peters jumps. You're seeing sort of, you mentioned the view from up high. You could see that one unfolding in slow motion from here.
The extra point is good. And Jamal Peters told Matthew Shinetti on the sidelines coming out of half, we just have to execute, make them earn everything. That'll do. All the way to the end zone. Argos up big.
Well, how about the Hattie for Jamal Peters? Starts off kind of sitting on the outside receiver. 2 short routes side by side there. Sits on the outside receiver, and we'll take a look in a minute at how he's baiting Dane White on that, Dane Evans on that one.
As Tim White gets the big return up across the 40-yard line. And off of the Ticats sideline comes number 13, not number 9, Jalen Morton. Out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, is replacing Dane Evans for the second time tonight. Evans been pulled off the field.
So Stephen Dunbar was the outside receiver on this one. Jamal Peters is in front of him, just off screen. He'll show up as the play continues. He kind of sits back, but look at where his eyes are. He's looking in the backfield the whole way at the quarterback. As soon as Evans looks at Tim White on the inside, Peters starts going. Cuts underneath the inside receiver to come up with his third INT of the evening. This one goes to the house.
And injured Ticat on the far sideline, but for Jamal Peters, trying to dance with history. I mean, we did have the Friday Night Football question earlier of Ticats Argos, who was the first to have 3 interceptions, as we get a look at all 3 of them. But I mean, it's Friday Night Football, 3 interceptions by a single defensive back, I imagine, is a rare club as well.
Yeah, you got to think. Jamal Peters, now in his second year in the Canadian Football League. Guy really kind of turned a lot of heads last year, and his reputation continues to grow as one of the best in the biz here in year 2.
Certainly in the conversation. Again, hadn't had an interception since week 4 against Winnipeg here at BMO Field. It just goes out and gets 3 in one game.
Yeah. Get him in bunches.
Here's Jalen Morton in as the third quarterback with Jamie Newman out. They'll go quarterback run on first down. Nearly loses his footing and now goes backwards. As again, Morton into the ball game. Undrafted and getting an opportunity out of Prairie View A&M. He comes to the sideline after an ineffective first down, and Evans right back into the ball game. And here's a nice gift for you, Dane. How about 2nd and 11 after throwing your 3rd interception of the ball game? Orlando Steinauer mulling over how to use his quarterbacks here with Schultz injured. They'll empty it out 4-by-2 underneath to Stephen Dunbar. Makes one-man miss and can't get away from Haggerty, the free safety backup coming downhill and making the plays. He gets congratulations from Royce Mechie.
Offense staying out on the field. This 15-point ball game.
Certainly desperation time here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as Labor Day around the corner. Trying to set the tone, score differential matters in all of these things, and of course wins more than anything else. They trail by 15 points in the 4th. On 3rd down and 2 yards, they're not going to get it. Tried to go inside to Poppy White. The Argonauts defense believes it's shy. It was the full 2 yards they needed here, Dwayne, and it will be signaled immediately. First down, Argonauts. With a 2-score lead, the defense holds at midfield. Poppy White trying to run through the line and can't. Toronto possession.
Football on Friday night. Will this be the next great Canadian quarterback? Michael O'Connor gets the reins as the Lions look to move to 9-1 on the season. That's coming up after Hamilton in Toronto.
Thank you, Kate. Looking forward to that one as the Riders, the week after Cody Fajardo was pulled from the ball game, get themselves a chance to go on the road and maybe send a message against Michael O'Connor and the BC Lions. The Argonauts with possession here as A.J. Ouellette gets stacked up in the middle of the defense. Quentin McManus told us this week, Dwayne, on the Hamilton run game, eyes are the key. They try to trick you by putting your eyes in the wrong places. Well, Poppy White here ends up taking the handoff, not Don Jackson.
Yeah, a little bit of misdirection as you'll see Poppy White in the backfield, but also seeing Poppy White in the backfield is Brandon Barlow coming off the edge. We've seen him make a couple of nice plays in the run. Checks contain, unblocked man, shuffles down to the inside and wraps up. Young man looking to try and keep himself in that Toronto Argonaut defensive lineup.
2nd and 9 after the gain of 1 over the top, looking for Coxie, dropping it in! What a throw and catch! Coxie with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons at Memphis. They wanted to get him going last week against the Stampeders, weren't able to, but this was a dime.
Yeah, a little double move right there. Gets on top of the defender. Watch the long arms here, extending to make the fingertip grab. Nice adjustment to the football as that one tailed towards the sideline. Mr. Barlow likes what he sees.
The Argos continue the drive, their 3rd straight, started in Hamilton territory. Bethel Thompson looks to the end zone, overshoots the intended receiver, looking for DeVaris Daniels, and the hopping McLeod Bethel Thompson knew he had something there.
Yeah, just a miss on that one. An opportunity here for the Toronto Argonauts to take strides towards putting this one away. If they can come up with another major.
Dinwiddie dialed in, takes a look at the play clock. It rolls inside 5 as Bethel Thompson puts the receivers in motion. He's got 4 options. They pick up the blitz. Over the middle, fits it in. Javon Santos knocks Julian Hauser diving through the middle, but DeVaris Daniels snatched it away. And inside the 5 to the 3 go the Argos.
Hauser dropping in coverage. Usually a defensive end. Tight window there, and you called it. Marsh, terrific job on the blitz pickup. Toronto went max protect there with the running back and bringing in a receiver.
And a sloppy start to this one as Wilson throws down an Argonaut at the end of the play, but I mean the blitz pickup was everything on that one.
Yeah.
It's a 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Sort out the penalty, respot the football here, and Santos Knox looks on. At least 6 tackles in 8 of the 10 games played for Hamilton this year. And with Simone Lawrence out, has certainly assumed a little bit of that leadership role as he communicates with the officials and gets set for what will be, as they move it backwards, a replaying of 1st and goal. 15-point advantage. Bethel Thompson in the gun, looking to extend it. Looks to his right. Fade ball back in the end zone, up in the air, up for grabs and incomplete. Richard Leonard against Curly Gittens Jr. Hands were on it, couldn't complete the catch.
Yeah, looked for a moment like they had something there. Gittens with lots of room to work in the corner of the end zone. Unable to make the circus grab there, as this one ends up in a little bit of a yard sale.
Still have 2nd down and goal. 5 receivers in the formation. Ouellette in the backfield. He'll release here to the flats. Pressure on. Bethel Thompson goes down. From behind, it's Mason Bennett. And his 2nd sack of the evening will shut down the Argos drive.
Yeah, big one there, although the opportunity remains for Toronto to turn this into a 3-possession game. Coming from the left side of your screen is Mason Bennett. Just does a good job getting Philip Blake's hands off of him in that one-on-one matchup.
Out comes Boris Beatty, had a 56-yarder earlier that he made. That was actually his career high for the big leg out of Laval. And 1 off of the Argonauts record. This one much more manageable, as he burns down the play clock from 22 yards out. Maxime Latour snaps it back. Haggerty with the hold. And more conversation between these two. Feels like Labor Day. A week early, but the defense gets the stop for Mason Bennett and the Ticats. Now it's on the offense. Micah Johnson, none too happy on the sideline for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as Dane Evans is on the field with 1st and 10. After the Boar's Beatty field goal makes it 37-19 Toronto. Poppy White gets the completion, but Micah Johnson still wandering up and down that sideline. The big free agency addition out of Saskatchewan, frustrated at the end of the play. Talking to Gregor McKellar, walking past the officials. And Ben Major telling Micah, can't touch me or you're going to be done in this ball game.
An angry Micah Johnson makes me a little nervous.
Evans steps up, thought about throwing it backwards. He'll slide down. It'll be close to the 1st down marker. We'll see what they give him as he gave himself up. It looked like short of the yardage required. I think a happy Micah Johnson is still motivated would terrify me.
Yeah, well said.
A hell of a player. And certainly the Ticats don't want to see him out of the ball game as Evans will go for the short yardage sneak and they'll call it a 1st down. As he's now 9 of 10 on short yardage sneaks on the year. The only one that hasn't made it was a forced fumble against Calgary all the way back in week number 2.
A very forced fumble.
Oh yeah. Cam Judge went ripping. As Calgary and Winnipeg, tremendous football game last night. Right down to the end in that one as Evans will swing it out low and into the feet of Don Jackson, incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10, but saw an amazing stat that came out of that game last night between Winnipeg and Calgary. 19 total possessions in that ball game. Last week when it was Calgary and Toronto here at BMO, each team had 17 possessions.
Yeah.
Couldn't hold on to the football, but that was high quality stuff last night.
Yeah, much more in the way of efficiency. The back and forth battle between two of the league's top teams.
As Jamal Peters at the top of your screen lines up against Keandre Smith, hunting for that 4th interception on the night. He's got 3. Devin Evans won't give him the chance. Goes short underneath the Poppy White. And statsman extraordinaire John Perlberg here in the booth let me know that tonight Jamal Peters has had his entire career at Mississippi State. 3 interceptions and 1 pick 6 in 41 career games. As Dane Evans got dinged by Sean Oakman and immediately went reaching for his right shoulder. Man. Schiltz already out of the ball game. Evans has been in and out a couple of different times. Jalen Morton had 1 snap with a quarterback run and no throwing. Pressure on this time from the Argonauts. Evans steps up, lets it loose, completed. And on 3rd down and 9 in desperation, inside 4 minutes, you see the grimace there from Dane Evans as he's fighting through. And you have to wonder if it's the same injury he sustained here at BMO earlier this year, but that was a heck of a throw.
Yeah, big throw, especially moments after taking that shot to his shoulder, no hesitation to dial up the fastball.
Go inside the 30-yard line for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Rare air, haven't spent much time winning the field position battle tonight. Evans on 1st and 10, over the top. It's hanging up. Tavares McFadden very nearly ripped that one away the same way he did against Bo Levi Mitchell last week, but it's incomplete.
Yeah, this is a good effort by Stephen Dunbar on the outside for Hamilton to kind of turn DB at the end of this play, as McFadden was the one who was best positioned to catch this ball. You see Dunbar fighting to get that one out of there.
And my thinking on that is that's 2 big, talented, aggressive men going at it here in the CFL between Dunbar and McFadden. 2nd and 10, Evans hit as he throws over the middle and sails it on the seam throw. Incomplete, intended for Don Jackson. Out of rhythm. Can't find the answer right now, and Dane Evans is battling through injuries, adversity, interceptions, you name it. He's up against it as we hit the 3-minute warning, trailing 37-19. It'll be 3rd and 10 Tiger Cats.
Cody Fajardo getting the nod to start after being benched in favor of Mason Fine a week ago. Cody and company looking for revenge over the BC Lions in Vancouver tonight. We've got that game coming up next after Hamilton in Toronto.
Looking forward to seeing how Michael O'Connor handles his first career start out there. Spoke to Vince Magri here, the assistant general manager in charge of the CFL draft for the Argonauts, who drafted Michael O'Connor to Toronto earlier this week. He said he has got everything that you would want in a quarterback to lead that huddle and make the throws. As Seth Small lines this one up from just beyond 35 yards away, and it is wide to the left. As Small, who made the booming kick at the end of the first half, can't knock that one through. And on 3rd and 10, not only do you not go for it, as they had their whole way down the field in desperation to try and get the cumulative score closer, which for the record is 98-73 in favor of the Argos right now, but you come away with nothing other than the single booming it through the back.
So the Argos edge. Scoring now.
Ryan Dinwiddie leaning in saying, it's 98-74. What do we got to do? We got to extend this one how far before Labor Day? That should be a great game coming up next week in the celebration of Canadian football. That is always unique. Argonauts offense. McLeod Bethel-Thompson in the game. He'll hand it off to Ouellette. And he gets wrapped up for a tackle for a loss. McLeod Bethel-Thompson, 19 of 32 for 258. 3 touchdowns and the early interception, which he's atoned for since.
Yeah, he's had a nice second half. Certainly the Argos defense, led by Jamal Peters, doing their part in this ball game as well. We've seen Bethel-Thompson finding some chemistry in this one with Brandon Banks a little bit. Obviously, Davaris Daniels making some nice plays for his quarterback. Terrific catch by DeMonte Coxie as well.
And Ouellette trying to get back the yardage that he lost, but just can't, as Juwan Briscason gets into it with Cam Kelly away from the action, and a whole lot of that tonight. You know what I don't understand, Dwayne? You can explain this to me, okay? You've been in Labor Day Classic games coming up next week. Even if it's guys who haven't been on these teams, even if it's new matchups, even if you've come off of, I don't know, the injured list, like Juwan Briscason.
Hamilton called the timeout.
As Hamilton calls time, you end up getting these moments of tension and frustration between these teams, and I've always wondered, it just, this time of year boils up no matter what as we get to September.
Well, everybody understands rivalry, right? Whether you've been through it in high school, college, you know, and it gets talked about leading up to the games. Those geographical rivals, obviously, a huge factor.
You would expect next week that Jake Mayer would get his first shot at the Edmonton Elks. It'll be an interesting storyline. Plenty of football to be played tonight in BC, and of course tomorrow in Edmonton before then.
Hey, let's catch every ball. Catch every ball first, and then we can turn up and do everything else.
Oh my goodness, spectacular!
Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Who got Iowa State? You were 8. You were 8? Tell them I said they suck. Tell them I said they suck. That's the wrap, folks. DVD, but that's all, folks.
Don't miss next week's CFL Wired episode, bringing you exclusive access to the latest CFL highlights. Catch it Wednesday at 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific, as Tim White makes the huge grab over the middle, crossing midfield for CFL Wired only on TSN, as Dane Evans stays in the game, continues to touch that right shoulder, right pec area. And you kind of wonder at this point, do you not? 17 points headed towards Labor Day. Your starting quarterback tonight's a little Well, Ginger with the throwing arm side, your backup quarterback who's played significant reps the last couple of weeks with ice on his right hand and wrists. Evans stays in, continues to battle, rolls to his right, pumps, trying to get away, and he'll just throw this one away and step into the bench, leaving 2nd and 10.
Yeah, the road just seems to get a little bit tougher every week for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as new challenges seem to await around every corner in terms of injuries and cobbling together a roster.
Energetic Argos crowd here tonight, enjoying the 37-20 advantage as Evans stands in the gun on 2nd and 10. Swinging to the left is Don Jackson, complete underneath. Tim White makes another grab, gets pushed from behind, stays on his feet, and rolls down to the 30-yard line.
Toronto Argonauts, given the circumstance of the game, somewhat content to give up the underneath passes, but got to still make the tackles when given the opportunity. Tim White taking advantage of a couple of misses on that one.
Exactly where the Tiger Cats were when their drive stalled on the last possession here at the 30-yard line. Evans over the middle, drops it into the bucket, down to the 5-yard line. Great catch made by Lamar Durant, and the offense now moving the football in between those soft zones very effectively.
Dane Evans. Another big throw there. Durant going to work across the middle. Already with 1 touchdown tonight.
5 receivers out. Important points here in the season series. Evans floats one to the corner, and it's incomplete. Close call. Poppy White, the intended receiver, will get a look at it, but he's not arguing too much as the turf at BMO lodged in the Ticats face mask.
Yeah, long throw out to that sideline. He lays out. We'll follow it along.
I think
tough to see the ball, but as you said, if he's not objecting, then I think we can assume that he didn't catch it.
And the rare situation where the reverse angle held by only the official was likely the best look at it. And so the Ticats don't challenge. Evans looks into the end zone, pressure on. Spun around and brought down. There's Brandon Barlow again making the play as Ben Major loses his hat. Barlow says, let me go put that back on top. Similar to a play we saw last night when an official getting knocked down in Calgary, Winnipeg, still signaling the touchdown call.
Yeah, nice rush there, just kind of a double hand slap against the left tackle, Vornkall.
DeAndre Smith late on the line of scrimmage. Evans on 3rd down and goal, looks to the right. Stephen Dunbar past his outstretched arms, and who else right there in coverage? Number 3, Jamal Peters.
Jamal Peters is making your Players of the Week votes a little easier this week, huh?
3 interceptions on the evening, and likely the final defensive play for the Toronto Argonauts in what has been a gem after a bit of a slow start.
Putting themselves in a great position as far as the season series goes.
No doubt.
Going into the final matchup between these 2 Southern Ontario rivals.
And Hamilton will end the ball game as its victory formation for the Double Blue with turnovers on 4 of their last 5 possessions down the stretch. Injury concerns, plenty to sort out regarding the quarterback situation. Final thoughts, Dwayne, from week number 12 here between the Argos and Ticats.
Well, I have to appreciate the way that McLeod Bethel Thompson bounced back in the second half from what was a bit of a rocky opening for him. response to adversity and recognizing that all eyes were on him. He delivered, and obviously an absolute